Good day. Ken here, Ken's Hobbies. Welcome to my channel. Well, two of the videos that I posted in the prior on the Johnny Cash show shows me such high views, and it's still climbing, so I thought I'd another special on out of the specials that he did. This episode is the western portion of country music and how it used to be called country and western, basically in the 50s. Let's get on with this show. This is called Ballads of the True West.
Out there is the West, mister. Some made it and prospered, some made it and never got out. Some crossed it never to return, and some never dared to go near it. Well, I'm sure you heard a few stories about the old West, and some may be true and some may not be true. See, there's just a few around that could still tell you about it, but whatever you've heard, I'll bet you that they're the most fascinating stories you ever did hear. So come along with me and perhaps you'll see and hear a few more. I got a few I'd like to tell you myself. Well, my hands are calloused July to July. I use a Big Dipper to navigate by. Fight off the wolves to drink from my well, so I gotta be mean as hell. A sheep herder came and he put up a fence. I saw him one day, but I ain't seen him since. But if you're needing mutton, we got mutton to sell, 'cause we're cowpunchers and we're meaner than hell. Neither me nor my pony's got a pedigree, but he takes me where I'm wanting to be. I'll ride him to death, and when he is fell, I'll get me another meaner than hell. I shot me a calf and I cut off her head, 'cause the boys in the bunkhouse are wanting to be fed. They rise and shine with the 5:30 bell, and the best one of any of 'em's mean as hell. When I die, take my saddle from the wall, strap it on my pony, lead him out of the stall. Tie my bones on his back, turn our faces to the west, and we'll ride the prairies that we love the best. Ride around little dogies, ride around slow. The fiery and snuffy are raring to go. Well, this looks like a good place as any to stop and have a rest, but remember, you're in a strange town, so keep a sharp lookout, because you never know what might happen. And by the way, don't be taken in by strangers. They're always looking for an easy mark. Now, you take this guy, for instance.
Howdy.
Howdy. That's the barber.
How'd you do?
Howdy. That's the blacksmith.
Big boy.
That must be the schoolmarm. Yes, sir? Looks like this is going to be a real interesting town. Hey, Kirk, looks like you got me again, huh?
No, I'd say that was pretty close. Of course, you know, in a movie, the guy left standing is always the winner, but I'll settle for a draw any day.
You know, it seems to me you've won a lot of gunfights in the westerns you made.
No, I'd say usually in a Western, I have about a 50-50 chance of staying alive.
Well, you made some real great westerns. I've seen many a great cowboy movie with the name Kirk Douglas on the screen.
Well, we made a pretty good one together.
Sure did, didn't we?
Yeah, John, looking at this old town, it certainly looks like the real thing takes you back about 100 years ago.
It sure does. Now, I hear there's some people that could tell us about those good old days. Now, you take that group of fellows over there. The talk is that the one in the rocking chair rode with Frank and Jesse James. So Frank told him to get his own horse.
Oh, yeah. I hear those two guys in the middle saved Abilene from corruption and violence by leaving town.
And that dangerous-looking critter over there, at one time they called him the fastest gun in the West. Actually, he was the slowest, but they didn't want to hurt his feelings.
The Old West. Yes, sir, them was the days. Sitting out under the stars, drinking strong coffee from an old tin cup, singing songs, talking to the best friend a man ever had, his horse.
Things sure have changed since the days of the Old West. Why, in those days, the country was made up of desperados, hucksters, saloon gals, con men. Why, people just waiting around to take your money. You know, come to think of it, things ain't changed that much.
The Old West was wagon wheels, rustling, gunfights, and saloons. It was a time when a man's conversation was limited to a couple of words. Who are you? Where you going? Stick 'em up.
Well, sir, everything today has just about been done. The West has been tamed. All the trails has been blazed. The horse thieves is all gone. The cattle rush has all been rounded up. And there just ain't no more gunplay in the streets. Seems like there's hardly any fun left. You right, John?
Well, Mr. Brennan, you know, a lot of things have changed since the old days. And you fellows have told just one side of the story, but I think you might have forgotten something.
Well, now, if you say Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, I'm gonna soak in one.
No, I'm referring to the one man that symbolizes the great American West. That's right, the voice of the American West, the great American cowboy.
Riding down the canyon just to watch the sun go down, a picture that no artist e'er could paint.
White-faced cattle lowing on the mountainside. I hear a coyote whining for its mate. Every day along about evening, when the sunlight's beginning to fade, I ride through the slumbering shadows along the Navajo Trail. When it's night and crickets are calling and the coyotes are making away, I dream by a smoldering fire along the Navajo Trail. I love to lie and listen to the music when the wind is strumming a sagebrush guitar.
While over yonder hill the moon is climbing, it always finds me wishing on a star. Well, what do you know? It's morning already. There's the dawning so silver and gay. It's time to climb into my saddle and ride the Navajo Trail. It's time to climb into my saddle and ride the Navajo Trail.
Two double sarsaparillas straight up. In a dirty glass.
You guys must have been doing some hard riding.
Matter of fact, we have. We're looking for 4 men that have been doing a lot of talking.
Now look, we don't want no trouble around here.
There won't be any trouble. Now, where's that sarsaparilla?
Oh, that's good. Well, there sure have been a lot of great old characters come out of the Old West. You know, I knew this old feller who told a story about a cowboy whose friend had told him he was courting a singer. He said, "What's she like?" He said, "She's a virtuoso." He said, "I'm not interested in her morals. How's her singing?"
Hey, what about the cowboy that went in a general store, asked to buy only one spur? The clerk looked at him and asked, Why only one? He said, well, if I figure if I can get one side of the horse moving, the other side will have to follow.
Are those the guys y'all looking for?
No. They're too strong and silent.
Could I ask a question?
No, we will ask the questions.
Now, where's that sarsaparilla?
Yeah, well, I tell you, in the old days of the West, the real law was the gun. Now, if you got into a fight, it was just an accepted fact that you'd settle it with a shootout. So everybody tried to be handy with a six-shooter. If you want, why, you could get popped off mighty fast. The fastest gunfighter was supposed to be Wild Bill Hickok.
Yeah, well, Wild Bill was a scout for General Custer, wasn't he?
Yeah? Yeah, he was a fancy dresser, but he was a crack shot. Although he was finally shot in the back when he was 39. It happened in a saloon just like this. And there was Wyatt Earp. He was a fast gun, but he was actually a gunman who ran a saloon.
You know something? That Billy the Kid, he was a character. You know where he's from? Brooklyn. Yes, sir. Name was William Bonney. He was nothing but a pimply-faced little old teenager when he started gunning people down.
That's the way it was in the Old West. It was a rip-roaring place where men really had to measure up. Most men early in life learned how to ride, to shoot, and to fight, and to gamble.
Yeah.
Are you sure those aren't the guys y'all were looking for?
No, that couldn't be them. The guys we're looking for are not that mean.
Maybe those are the guys.
Excuse me a minute, John. What's happening?
This is where we introduce the love interest.
In a dirty glass.
Ladies and gentlemen, direct from Dodge City's fabulous Red Garter Saloon and Santa Fe's colorful Cactus Club and from Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, will all you dirty, no good, low-down, conniving, cheating varmints welcome Miss Judy Lynn!
Cowboy sweetheart, I want to learn to rope and ride. I want to ride o'er the range and the desert, out west of the Great Divide. De-o-de-lay, de-ay, de-o-de-lay, de-o, ole-ay, de-lay, o-de-lay, de-ay, de-o-de-lay, de-ay, de-o-de-lay, de-o, ole-ay, o-de-lay, 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 de. I want to ride old pain going at a run. I want to feel the wind in my face. 1,000 miles from the city lines, going to Cowhand's face. I want to pillow my head neath the sleeping herd while the moon shines down from above. I want to strum my guitar and yodel-oo-dee-oh. That's the life I love.
To the courageous young men who opened the West, their one continuous thought was survival. And to those who won their battle against the cold winter winds and the scorching summer sun, there always existed the ever-constant encounter with their fellow man. As I walked out on the streets of Laredo, as I walked out on Laredo one day, I spied a young cowboy all wrapped in white linen, wrapped in white linen, cold as the clay. Oh, beat the drum slowly, play the fife lowly, play the dead march as you carry me along. Take me to the green valley, lay the sod o'er me. I'm a young cowboy, and I know I've done wrong. Get 6 jolly cowboys to carry my coffin. Get 6 pretty maidens to sing me a song. Put bunches of roses all over my coffin, roses to deaden the clods when they fall. And he had said, go write a letter and send it to my gray-haired mother. And please send the same to my sister so dear. But he said, please, not a word of all this would you mention. If others should ask you my story to hear. Just beat the drum slowly, play the fife lowly, play the dead march as you carry me along. Take me to the green valley, there lay the sod o'er me. I'm a young cowboy, and I know I've done wrong.
Ready? Hey!
Boy, Kirk, you know that sun is shining down on old Tucson today, ain't it?
Yeah. You know, John, I was here about, I think 10 years ago. I did a movie with Burt Lancaster.
Gunfight at OK Corral.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
I like that one.
Billy Clanton fell right down in that creek, didn't he?
That's right. I played Doc Holliday, and Burt played Wyatt Earp. Now, there's 2 characters they made a lot of movies about them. You see them in a lot of movies.
Well, I think the one you and Burt made was the classic of all of them.
Smart gambler, you sure play sucker odds. You're going to be dead inside of a year.
What do you know about odds, preacher? This kind of cough doesn't go away.
Why don't you get out of those stinking saloons? Pack up and go live in the mountains.
Not me.
You're just ornery enough to live to a ripe old age.
No, I'm not going to let it drain me out slow.
Sure. Play it hard and fast.
Listen, Wyatt, the only thing I'm really scared of is dying in bed. I don't want to go little by little. Someday somebody's got to outshoot me, and it'll be over with real quick. Herb, I didn't come along to hear you preach a sermon.
You know, I've been wondering about that. Why did you come?
If I stick around long enough, sooner or later, you've got to put your head in a noose. I'm going to bail you out. I've only got one debt in this world, and I don't like owing it to you. I bet you never knew that I once wanted to be a singing cowboy.
Did you really?
Yeah. You know, I really think that everybody, see, you people like you, John, who sing, you have an advantage, because I think everybody's a frustrated singer. You know, when I go in the shower, boy, I've got a great voice. And there are millions of people all around the country who think they have a great voice that no one ever hears. So I used to think that, so I thought, well, I'm going to do something about it. So I did a picture years ago called Man Without a Star. And in this way, after I get through with this, there'll be so many offers. They'll get a load of me playing that banjo and singing a song. You know what happened? Nobody made me one offer after that picture. You better up. You know, John, I think that sometimes people have a rather snobbish attitude toward Westerns. There's so many Westerns that are made, and very often you hear people talking about, well, a movie must have a statement. I've got to admit that I think any movie, the importance of any movie is to entertain. I don't think there's anything more important than enabling millions of people all over the world to forget all their problems and get wrapped up in a movie for a couple of hours. People sometimes don't realize that actors who enjoy making movies, like I do, and enjoy making Westerns, also enjoy watching them. Don't you?
Yeah, I do. Well, that holds true for any performer, Kirk, actor or performer or singer like myself. Entertaining the people is our first obligation, and well, it's really the thing I love most. And well, it comes through on that screen, the honesty of the performance, whether it's an actor or a singer. And there are some great movies that Well, now, to bring things right up to date, Kirk, the movie you and I did, A Gunfight, will be released a little later on this spring or summer.
Did you say you were looking for Will Teneray?
That's right.
I'm Will Teneray.
Abe Cross.
Nice meeting you.
My pleasure. Try not to throw too many bouquets, but I just want to say this, that if I had it all to do over again, to make my first major motion picture, and if I could pick my co-stars, I'd still pick Kirk Douglas after it's all been done.
John, I want to tell you something. Now, I spent most of my career building myself up to be a bad guy. Now, if you're going to louse up my whole image and start to say,
come along and ride this train. Come along and ride this train. Cross the mountains, prairies, reservations, rivers, levees, plains. Come along and ride this train. Ride this train. Ride this train with me to the desert land of the great Southwest. That rough, raw, mysterious land where the past and the future lie hidden beneath the sand forever shifting. I discovered the valley of the shifting, whispering sands while prospecting in a western state. I saw the silent windmills, the crumbling water tanks, the bones of cattle picked clean by buzzards, bleached by the desert sun. I stumbled over a crumbling buckboard nearly covered by the sand, and stopping to rest, I heard a tinkling, whispering sound. And I suddenly realized that though the wind was quiet, the sand did not lie still. I seemed to be surrounded by a mystery so heavy and oppressive, I could scarcely breathe. For weeks, I wandered aimlessly in the valley, seeking answers to the many questions that raced through my mind.
Where was everyone? Why the white bones, the dry wells, the barren valleys where people must have lived and worked and died? I sat down and buried my face in my hands, and resting, I learned the secret of the shifting, whispering sands. How I managed to escape from the valley, I don't know, but now to pay my debt for being saved, I must tell you what I learned out on the desert so many years ago.
When the day is hotly quiet and the breeze seems not to blow, one would think the sand was resting, but you'll find this isn't so. It is whispering, softly whispering, as it slowly moves along. And for those who stop and listen, it will sing this mournful song.
Of sidewinders and the horn toad on this thorny chaparral, in the sunny days and moonlight nights, the lonely coyotes yell.
How the stars seem you could touch them as you lay and gaze on high at the heavens where you're hoping you'll be going when you die. Me, I was a high-toned gentleman from the east, on my way to California, young, full of vinegar. I figured there wasn't nothing could drag me down. So when I met that old miner in Albuquerque, broke and looking for somebody to stake him, and he told me about the gold, I was raring to go that very night. Next morning we started out, and for weeks we walked through wild, raw, God-forsaken country till we come to the spot he had marked. It didn't look like much. Fact is, made me wish I'd never come. At first we worked regular hours, but as soon as we hit pay dirt, a kind of madness kind of took hold, you know? We worked in like maniacs in a fever. Sometimes we'd even be at it in the middle of the night working. Then our water started to run out. It's time to leave, but we stayed on. One more hour, one more day, always just a little bit more gold. Finally, I guess we both went a little bit mad from thirst and the heat. And it wasn't until we ran out of sacks to put the gold in that we up and started back with 4 overloaded burros. We hadn't traveled half a day when a sandstorm blew up and separated us. Crazed and out of my head, and about then I'd given just about every speck of gold dust I'd ever seen for one dipper full of water. I lost all memory about what happened for the next few days, and when they found me, I was nearly dead. And later on, they found the body of that old prospector not more than 100 yards from me. Seemed like we'd been going in circles around each other. And the curious thing is, there wasn't any gold found on either one of us. Our packs had broken open, and the wind and the sand, they took back their treasure. Yes, they always whispered to me of the days of long ago when the settlers and the miner fought the crafty Navajo. How the cattle roamed the valley, happy people worked the land. Now everything is covered by the shifting, whispering sand.
The miner left his buckboard, went to work his claim that day.
And the burros broke their halters when they thought he had gone to stay. How they found that ancient miner lying dead upon the sand. And for months they could but wonder, did he die by human hands? So they dug his grave and laid him on his back and crossed his hands, and his secret still is covered by the shifting, whispering sands.
And the secret still is hidden by the shifting, whispering sands.
The Old West has left us a treasure in legends, stories, and songs. Cowboy songs that'll be handed down from generation to generation, that'll be with us as long as the world stands. Songs that tell of his dreams, his hopes, his plans, his disappointments, and in one case I know of, a final request. Oh, bury me not on the lone prairie. These words came low and mournfully from the pallid lips of a youth who lay on the bloody ground at the close of day.
Well, come along, boys, and listen to my tale. I'll tell you all my troubles on the old Chisholm Trail.
Come a tie, yippee, 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 yippee. Come a tie, yippee, yippee, yippee.
It's cloudy in the west and it looks like rain, and my darned old slicker's in the wagon again.
Come a tie, yippee, yippee, yippee. Come a tie, yippee, yippee.
Well, I hunted up the boss just to draw my roll. Well, he figured me out, $9 in the hole.
Come a tie, yippee, yippee, yippee. Come a tie, yippee, yippee.
With my knees in the saddle and my seat in the sky, I'll keep punching cattle in the sweet by and by.
Come a tie, yippee, yippee, yippee. Come a tie, yippee, yippee. Oh, the place where I worship is the wide open spaces built by the hand of the Lord, where the trees of the forest now the hacienda star. The town is sleeping. Now the time has come to part, the time for weeping. Vaya con Dios, my darling. May God be with you, my love. Now the village mission bells are softly ringing. If you listen with your heart, you'll hear them singing. Vaya con Dios, my darling. May God be with you, my love. South of the border, down Mexico way. That's where I fell in love while stars above came out to play. And now as I wander, my thoughts ever stray. South of the border, down Mexico
I was out walking one morning for pleasure, spied a cowpuncher just riding along. His hat was thrown back and his spurs were jingling. As he approached, he was singing this song. Whoopie-tie-o, get along, little dozy. It's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopie-tie-o, get along, little dozy. You know that Wyoming will be your new home.
All day I face the barren waste without the taste of water. Ooh, water. Oh, barren iron, rust like crying, souls like crying for water. Oh, bury me not on the lone prairie where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free, where there's not a soul that will care for me. Oh, bury me not on the lone prairie.
Never in this land before us and never more hereafter could a land know such a people as the man we call the cowboy. His unique brand of lingo, his boots and his bandana, all his devil deeds of daring, his clothes, his way of living, but mainly that gun dangling so his hand could get it quickly. Always wary of the weather, always ready, for he must be. Hope you listen to the cowboy's story. And if you cannot hear it in these legends, songs, and traditions, listen closely to the west wind and the secret that it whispers in the forest, plains, and valleys, in the sand forever shifting.
I'm heading for the last roundup. I'm gonna saddle old paint for the last time and ride. Oh, so long, old pal, it's time your tears were dry. I'm heading for the last roundup. I'm heading for the last roundup. There'll be Buffalo Bill with his long snow